For as long as I can remember, people have been asking, pleading, even begging EA to make a spiritual successor to Underground 2. And I mean, did it try? Carbon was pretty much a souped up Underground 2, and Need for Speed 2015? You can see the obvious resemblance to Underground 2, though it ultimately fell pretty short of people's expectations. I mean, it was alright, but it wasn't quite what people wanted. I mean, to be fair, that is kind of EA's business strategy, isn't it? This brings me to two independent projects to revive the nostalgia of Underground 2, starting with Heatwapped. As of publishing this video, Heatwapped is currently in a demo form, with no slated release date. We get a 20 to 30 minute slice of gameplay, with a drift, time trial, sprint and circuit event type. We start off with a legally distinct Nissan. It's really messing my head. Is it Silvia, a 200SX or a 240SX? Let me know what car you reckon it is in the comments. At this point, I was really not a fan of the music that this game offers, so I of course turned it off and put on the Underground 2 Spotify playlist. And let me tell you, it really did help set the mood of the game. It's a loving reimagining of Underground 2, while also being legally distinct enough that EA won't go after it. Though I don't think they really care. Everything feels as it should, from the handling model, to the way the camera reacts to the car movements, to the AI that are incredibly stiff and don't move out of your way, no matter what you do. I will say, within the demo, the AI's rubber banding was far more aggressive than of Underground 2, in my opinion. It felt like you were never allowed to be too far ahead, which, to be fair, I don't mind. It gave me a good challenge, but I hope that the full game has a more linear difficulty curve. Even the car audio has some nice meat to it. The area that is unlocked for this demo is rather small, but it really does look close to Underground 2, while still fully being its own thing. The creator has managed to emulate both the obvious things, such as the turquoise neon lights that surround certain buildings, to the small things, like a lot of the unique buildings, being quite simple visually, and dare I say, slightly liminal. In fact, the city of Ratfield looks like it should be oozing with life, and somewhere in the unreachable distance it is, but it feels desolate and peaceful, which is really cool and helps to make it feel like Bayview. The tracks are thankfully not as closed off as one might expect. I think Heatwapped improves on Underground 2, with the amount of shortcuts they can take, both big and small. Visually, I know I already touched on how the city looks, but graphically the game looks beautiful. I think there could certainly be some touches added, depending on how far the creator wants to take the Underground 2 inspiration. I think a bit more contrast, maybe a slightly darker brightness and color grading for each area and different weather types would definitely go a long way. But otherwise, there is so much to love here. The glowing textures, the fake spotlights and light flares, the planes and hot air balloons off in the distance, the light trails. Sea Lime has really beat Unity into submission, into looking like an engine from the early 2000s. But we aren't just limited to 2000s fake realism tricks, as the developer allowed enough leeway to add some effects that would have been harder to pull off on the 6th generation consoles, such as high quality and more realistic smoke. And I think the city is a tad tighter and draws further than Underground 2, but maybe I'm wrong. On that note, I've not had any major performance issues. The demo has run at a locked 120 FPS, with everything maxed out. The only issues I had were a few stutters, just like with Mohun Kart 4 that I previously looked at. Shader compilation perhaps? Unsure, but it's strange that it's happened twice to me now. If you don't want to play the game in such high detail and want to keep it more authentic, there are settings just for that. You can reduce the update rate of the reflections, drop the render distance of the rear view mirror, and even lower the resolution on the fly, with two settings, nearest neighbor and bilinear, for when you want to make the game feel like it's either running through an emulator or through an old video recording. And on that note, of course I had to try this game out from my older equipment. The game supports practically every resolution, and has 4x3 support, which means that it scaled beautifully onto my CRT. It did really make the game feel more authentic, though at the expense of being able to see where I'm meant to be going at times. But if you want to max out the settings, power to you, as the game has lovely reflections, the kind that a AAA developer would tell you is impossible without ray tracing. And I think the developer has hit a good middle ground of authentic 2000s, while still making the game look good on a modern display. Like, we still have distant billboarding, but I didn't even notice it until scrubbing through the recorded footage. And the leaves on the trees are also 2D textures, but they don't look bad at all. We currently don't have the different shops like in Underground 2, and I'm unsure if that will be added, or if the developer wants to go more of the chop shop most wanted route. I reckon the latter, which is fine. There is plenty of car customizability so far, though I personally would love to see more livery options, and the silly options from Underground 2, like trunk customization, visible engine changes, and custom gauges. There remains to be seen if this will be added into the final game, and at the end of the day, it's just visual and doesn't add anything to the game, so it's fine if not. With the chop shop, we can see that it's not just Underground 2 that the devs have taken inspiration from. Visually, I think it looks more like Carbon. And the minimap, well, it's straight out of Most Wanted. including the static option on first start that I always change to rotating. Oh, but the useless GPS is very much underground too. The phone has been massively upgraded. We have themes, ringtones, a clone of tower blocks, which is always appreciated from me, a discussion forum, a camera mode, jukebox and more. It basically replaces multiple menus in one, as here we can see upcoming races, the GPS, our rank and more. A lovely addition, and the fake BlackBerry with Edge Internet is a great choice. Here, I hope that the photo mode does get fleshed out in the final game, and I hope that we can insert our own music files to replace the jukebox. Spotify would be better, but they got greedy with API fees. But if we can replace the music with ours, that'd be smashing. Those are my overall thoughts on Heatwapped. I absolutely can't wait for this game to be fully released. And I hope that the dev keeps the community updated, as the fundamentals are already amazing. Just minor tweaks, the whole map being built and a proper career mode, and we're golden. But what if you wanted something a little more underground too, without running the original game? 2 Unreal 5 Underground is a port of Underground 2 to Unreal Engine 5. It also has a vertical slice demo, where we can play around with the car customizability and the free roam mode. One might think that this project doesn't really have a purpose, since you can patch the PC version of Underground 2 to run in HD with a fixed HUD. The thing is though, Underground 2 in standard def or on a CRT looks phenomenal, but scale it up to HD and it does fall apart in places. Again, that's what I was referring to earlier by Heatwapped having managed to keep the look authentic while adding more detail and high quality visuals. And that's the same advantage that TUFU has, i.e. making the game look more like how we remembered it as kids, as opposed to how it looks on a 4K TV now. The demo is certainly not there yet. A lot of objects that should be lit or have glowing textures does not, and the color grading does muddle the world objects. But this demo is quite old now, and the developer does drop updates on his channel showing the progress of the game, and it's come a long way since. It's now just a case of getting the career mode implemented, and further tweaks to the handling model, though even in this demo, I thought the cars drove authentically. The dev managed to turn off basically every modern feature of UE5, which I'm sure was no small feat, though the game is harder to run than Heatwapped currently, as you can see by the frame graph. Though no stutters. And as Unreal Engine has multi-channel audio support by default, it means that the game takes advantage of my 5.1 setup, just like the World Challenge reimagining I made. So that's all from me. I've linked both games in the description if you'd like to check them out. And if you enjoyed this video, why not consider subscribing? Cheers!